this or this on either side of it are
Arteries.
umbilical arteries. What do they do?
Bring
What kind of blood? Yeah, deoxygenated. Opposite. Just like the pulmonary arteries and veins. These guys, 2 umbilical arteries, deoxygenated blood and wastes from fetus to mom's placenta. The 1 umbilical vein, okay, which you might see the other portion of it up here because we snipped it off, right? The 1 umbilical vein carries oxygenated blood and nutrients from mom's placenta to fetus. So you would expect that the 1 umbilical vein and the 2 umbilical arteries on the outside are wrapped in this structure, which has string around it, and this is the umbilical cord that wraps those. Okay, so we know those, and then, so now we see this tube over here,
Penis?
and we're wondering what it is. Yeah, so how do we know that that's the penis? Well, the tube that's down here, you know it's not the bladder, you know it's not the umbilical artery, and you see it coming back here, and you know that underneath the umbilical cord we had the preputial orifice, so that's where the penis would be coming out of. So there it is, following along from back there around here. Okay.
Did you pull that out of there?
Yeah. So that's why I told you guys it's going to be here on the side.
Yeah.
So you just cut down that way.
Trying to get back to where we allowed to touch.
No touching, because I don't want you guys to mess it up for the next person going through. So it's going to be laid out like this right now is pretty clear to me. Like nobody needs to move anything around because you can see the bladder there, you can see the artery, you can see all the structures. You don't need to touch anything. So I'm going to have them laid out in such a way that you don't need to touch anything. So the penis, what did we say for males runs along its length? That's a passage for semen and urine. Urethra, right? So here's the penis. So we would expect the urethra to meet up with it. So this pin here in the middle that I have my finger on, this one, this tube here is the urethra. Now urethra, I could have that labeled anywhere other than this pin, because the urethra is emptying urine from which portion? What thing? From the bladder. Here's the bladder, okay? We already said these 2 things on the side are the arteries. What's this one here? Ureter, right? You see it coming from the kidney, and then it feeds into the bladder here, right? But it stops.
I can't see that. Your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you see that? So it stops. It doesn't go along the length of the bladder, right? So basically, you know that anything down from the bladder past the ureter, which I'm going to take this out so I can show you guys. All of this tube now, everyone see that? All of this tube coming down, this is all urethra, okay? Because it's coming down from the base of the bladder after the ureter has fed into it, okay? So that's urethra. The bulbourethral glands, these 2 pins, okay, are in the bulbourethral glands. If you look at my picture, I colored them white. It's letter E on that picture on the right side, okay? They look like hot dog buns that are around the urethra. So the urethra is the hot dog, and these are the buns around it. These are bulbourethral glands. Their function is that they secrete an alkaline mucus, and that's going to help with entering basically the female genital tract since it's acidic. So secrete alkaline mucus, reproductive system. Then we've got these other tubes around here. This greenish brown one, everyone see that okay? What is that?
Rectum.
Rectum, carries wastes to the anus. Then we've got this, I'm going to use the pen, we've got this here.
Yeah, aorta.
This is the descending aorta, right? What is that blue one next to it?
Vena cava.
Everyone see that okay? Okay, vena cava, inferior vena cava. And we already said that this guy was the
Ureter.
ureter. Okay, so now here you guys can see This would be closer to the urethra, but since I've moved things, that's kind of isolated. It's one of the seminal vesicles. So that one, you guys should be able to tell because it's not going into any of the blood vessels. It's not going into any of the tubes. It's just this little lobe. That's what I put in green on the picture up there on the right. So there's two seminal vesicles, and they're going to be you've got two kind of like secreting things to worry about to identify. The bulbourethral glands, which you're going to see at the base close to the anus, and they look like hot dog buns. And then you've got these little mushy lobes that are going to be up higher along the urethra. However, if the urethra has been moved, you might just kind of see it there by itself. But you know it's nothing else. It's just a little mush by itself. It's a seminal vesicle. And this secretes seminal fluid, which I think, double check me on this, but it has the nutrients for the sperm in it as well. Okay. Anything else on this one? Do you guys all feel comfortable with that? So look at it after I've talked about it and make sure you're comfortable with all the strings and pins. Let's look at that one now. Can somebody pass